All right, hello everyone, and welcome to today's webcast titled "How to Thrive in a Trader's Market." This is a terrific time to get into this webcast. Some exciting things have been happening here recently, and we're going to be delighted to share a few of those things with you here today. So, once again, just thanks for taking time out of your busy schedules and spending the next 30, 40 minutes or so with me here today. All right, so with that in mind, it's always good with so many different webcast offerings and all kinds of different activities you can get into these days, just knowing if you're in the right place at the right time. So you're in the right place right now if you currently dedicate or want to dedicate a portion of your portfolio to short-term trading to grow your portfolio faster. A couple of main things here. Portion of your capital is certainly fit for some in terms of this. You may have a good high safety portfolio and then a little extra capital you want to work with to try to grow a little bit faster. I think that's a point that I don't want to let skip past you. Also, in terms of short-term trading, we're certainly not talking on the whole in terms of day trading. We do some day trading from time to time, but this is traditionally more of a swing trading kind of a tactic where you're holding positions for days to possibly weeks, depending on what the market does. Okay, and then also you're in the right place right now if you want to feel confident in your decision that you bought the right stocks at the right time, and more importantly, potentially, and in many cases it is, that you can sell it at the right time in the future. That tends to be the most pivotal thing for folks these days, is knowing when to sell. So we certainly have a solution for that as well. All right, so my promise to you guys is that if you stick with me here through the end, that you can adapt and thrive no matter what the market throws at you, even in the midst of some of the turbulence that we've seen here lately, and we're certainly going to put that on full display here today. All right, first and foremost, my name is Steve Chappell. I almost introduced myself right out of the gate, but I am Steve Chappell, the Director of Trading Systems Development here at VectorVest. I've been with the company more than 20 years now. It's been quite a ride, and I'm just a small piece of a very, very skilled, highly educated team that works very hard on making sure that we provide the best stock market guidance anyone can get, certainly at any price. And I think you'll see evidence of that here today in this very webcast. So let's get to it. In order to adapt and thrive, you're going to need the right tools for the job. You need the right tools that will adapt and thrive to really be able to thrive in any market condition. Okay. And so what we're going to be highlighting today is one of the tools that we have here at VectorVest called the Derby. The Derby is a tremendous tool. It was built in the spirit of a horse race, in that what it does for you on a daily basis is put you in position to grab hold of the fastest runners, or the fastest horse, I suppose, in that example. And what that amounts to is putting the stocks that are really making enormous moves in the stock market right at your fingertips, and that can have tremendous power. And so we're going to be talking quite a bit about that here recently. Coming into the most recent Fed meeting, the market had a pretty substantial panic sell-off heading in, and of course after the announcements were said and done, the market started to go on a pretty prolific rally. And what we were noticing in this tool at that time is a lot of our bottom fishing scans were starting to populate at the top, and we're really exploding. If you look at that image on the screen right now, what you'll see is a strategy called jailbreak. And I did a special presentation here recently, I think it was either last week or the week before, on bottom fishing, and that the market is in that prime territory right now with our market timing indicators, where the market is a bit oversold. And of course it could end up going lower, right? But all we're waiting on are explosive days to jump into some of these bottom fishing campaigns and potentially get some huge reward for doing so. So we're going to highlight some of that in this webcast today. But it's interesting to point out here that we saw this happening shortly after the Fed meeting. That Fed meeting, of course, culminated really at about 2:30. Is when people really begin to digest what was being said. And at 3:08 p.m. yesterday, one of our key market timing indicators in the Derby tool itself, that we call the DTI, hit a very high level of 1.81, which is way above and beyond even confirmation of a new uptrend is in play. So these indicators are built on a 0 to 2 scale. Above 1 is favorable. The higher above 1 you go, the more favorable it becomes. And so, what you can see is a day yesterday in which the bulls were in full control, after that meeting. Had we launched the campaign, which I did with real money, okay, in our trading account through RoboTrader, we'll talk more about all this stuff here in a sec. As of 12:14 today, I don't know if you can read the timestamp on here. It would take a magnifying glass of pretty good proportion to be able to blow that up. But that's 12:14 p.m. today, so around lunchtime, when I had some free time to kind of jump in and see how things had panned out since yesterday. This basket of stocks was up more than 4%. It actually went north of about 4.6, and then ultimately pulled back to about 2.87% today when all was said and done. But you can see we had some pretty good winners in there on a day in which the market was pretty sour, and ultimately we did end up shutting the campaign down today because the market started to really fade off into the sunset, and our Derby timing indicators turned very bearish. But we were able to capitalize on some pretty good short-term gains on what has been a pretty nasty market, and I think that speaks volumes in terms of the power of the tool that you have at your fingertips here, or at least potentially. Some of you may already have it, many of you probably don't. And so we're going to spend some time bouncing around in that tool, showing you what we did and also showing you why we did it, because, let's be honest, 4% sounds pretty good in a day. If you can walk away with 1% or so like we did, not a bad day's work. But at the end of the day, what were we really shooting for? What were we trying to accomplish? And that's going to be more to the tune of, well, on the most recent bottom prior to this one, this same strategy did 133% in just about 5.5 months. Okay, so what we're saying here is today looked as though, or yesterday rather, looked as though a day where the market was getting ready to take off like the most recent bottom that we'd experienced. So we jumped in there. Turns out so far the market hasn't taken as much hold as we would have preferred. So we might get yet another bottom fishing opportunity. But what I'm going to be showcasing is you're going to have the tools that can put you in a position to where you can get these kinds of returns when in fact the next bottom is. And hopefully it's near term, but it may not be, And so I've learned to become almost a cheerleader when the stock market's on the fall, because when you get beyond the back side of that, the deeper the crater, the stronger the rebound. It's like stretching a rubber band. At some point, stocks become so attractive, no matter what the condition, that the stock market is going to make a significant bounce. And in many cases, eventually leads to even a new high in the stock market, right? So that's where we stand right now. I'm not suggesting that this bottom that we are trying to solidify right now is inevitably going to hold. But I do know that if we go even lower, that just means even better opportunity with this systematic approach that we're talking about here is going to be. So whether it's here in the very short term and we launch a campaign again within the next day or two, or whether it's a month or two down the road, we're going to get the job done. So let's talk a little bit more about this. I'm going to get into the tool. I hate being stuck in the web in these PowerPoints here. We'll get into the actual tool itself. We'll bounce around a little bit and talk to you more about what we're doing. We said you need the right tools for the job, so we're certainly going to highlight the tools that you need. VectorVest, right out of the gate, just even without the Derby, already has a lot of important information around identifying bottoms. Right now we have a situation where the buy to sell ratio is at 0.26, and anytime you get below 0.2, we're searching for a bottom. Of course, we've been recently below that. So we've been in the mode of searching for a bottom here for the better part of the last week and a half or so. And we've had a couple of bottom fishing opportunities that have amounted to a couple of what could have been fairly substantial short-term gains. But we haven't had a bottom that's taken quite yet. In other words, we haven't blasted off for a week or more off of the bottom, right? And inevitably, that's where the money is going to be. So the money will follow once that happens. The big money, rather. Okay, so all that being said, I'm going to show you about the tool that enabled me, yesterday to make some of those decisions to put us in a position to make that kind of money that quickly, because after all, 4% in a day is pretty good. So what we're going to do is get over into the Derby. Derby has a couple of interesting facets to it. We said it's built in the spirit of a horse race, and so in VectorVest, of course, there's a lot of different searches in the program, and it becomes a challenge for some investors to try to decipher, what strategy should I pick right now. And while I can always give people about a baker's dozen worth of strategies that tend to work day in, day out, year in, year out, when the market's healthy, it's inevitably a very difficult question to answer because, the markets, different types of stocks perform better under different types of conditions, right? So what I'm pointing out right now is that bottom fishers are really king. And so this tool can be very helpful in terms of pointing you towards the bottom fishers that are already starting to move. For example, if we look at today's action, Blyer's bottom feeders is a bottom fishing strategy. In there today was a stock that went up a paltry 123%. And you say, well, how could that have helped me today make some decisions? Well, as you can see, this strategy for the most part did nothing but go up, 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 up. All morning long it was at top of the Derby, and inevitably it stopped performing at about 11:30. But there was plenty of opportunity along the way to jump on this little booger here, ADGI. And so if we look at a graph, it speaks to the importance of the Derby, okay? These are the kind of stocks that when this market inevitably does bottom are the ones that you're going to find a lot of stocks that can do this, okay? This happened to be a strong swimmer in a very turbulent stream, which is rare, I will admit. But when the market does continue, like if we finished at highs today and the market just kept plowing for the next 3 or 4 days, like it will when an actual bottom sets in, this is the kind of stock that can keep going even, and you'll find a lot more of them. But just look, it went up basically all morning long. There was plenty of opportunity to jump on ADGI all throughout the morning today. And if you did it, within the first 30 minutes to 45 minutes of the market day, you would have made a lot of money on that trade today. So this is the kind of power that the Derby has. It can put these kinds of and you'd be surprised at the frequency that it can put these kinds of winners right at your fingertips. And so why is that maybe a little bit more important than just going over to, say, yahoo.com, Yahoo Finance, and seeing what stocks are up the most? Well, it's that these are based from proprietary scans. So this ADGI actually has some fundamental quality as to why we're picking it to begin with. And one of the main things is, while it's got some little bit of fundamental quality, it has been one of the bloodiest stocks in the stock market retreat that began several weeks ago. And so when you run into stocks that exhibit both of those conditions, for example, let me show you a longer term chart of this stock. We focused on the intraday here so far, but what makes a bottom fishing scan a bottom fisher is, when stocks can fall down from 80 to sub 10 down to 6, and have been really just beaten to a pulp. These are the kind of stocks that have the strongest tendency to run and run hard, particularly when markets start to get to oversold levels. And so this has long been a VectorVest methodology, and I would encourage anybody in this room right now who hasn't seen my special presentation on Get Ready to Go Bottom Fishing. This is exactly the kind of thing that we were talking about in that video. Okay, so this isn't just something we've just concocted here recently. This is something that we've been doing for more than 25 years now on a very consistent basis. Okay, so the idea is to be able to jump on these kinds of things all the time when the timing is right. All right, now there were several other stocks in here that still made some pretty good moves. Of course, some that didn't cooperate at all, and I think that's a big function of the stock market did not have a very good day today. So long story short, it takes all the strategies that we have in VectorVest, it puts the strongest performers right at the top of the list, and thereby within every strategy, you can also see the strongest swimmer in that particular strategy itself. And so a lot of times, we're going to talk about a coaching group towards the end of this where we do this every single day live, with real money in front of customers. And this is the kind of thing we look at. We get in here, we bounce into these strategies, we look for the strong runners, and we look for an opportunity to jump on them as individual trading opportunities. From time to time, as I mentioned in the slide set, we also might just jump on an entire basket of stocks like we did yesterday. And so why did we do it yesterday? Let me come over here to the left. We also have a timing model that's intraday in this Derby tool. It's called the Derby Timing Indicator, or DTI. We talked about the scaling of 0 to 2 earlier in the slide set. You can see today which way was it swinging. The opposite direction, certainly by the day's end, right? But what we can then do is click right on this indicator, and when we do, we can actually plot it across stock market movement on an intraday basis. And what I will point out as we look back here is this tool has been predominantly bearish throughout every session of every day, barring yesterday for most of the day. Okay, and so the reason that we elected to jump yesterday was because we were coming off a BSR of 0.20 on an intraday basis, and that's the indication to start looking for a market bottom in VectorVest. The stock market began to rally, and if I come down here to the bottom, I can put on what's called the DTI Combo 1, okay? And so we finally got to a level where we can start searching for bottom fishing strategies at the right time when the market went up, which is why we avoided this one, by the way. When the market went up enough, which was 3:08, I believe. Yeah, 3:08 p.m. yesterday is when I took the picture of that graphic, okay? And also that, I guess I took it about 2 or 3 minutes later than that. As luck would have it, the market was really rolling. But anyway, took the screenshot as quick as I could, and then what I did next was, as I showed you in an earlier slide, which we'll go back to on conscious stream of thought here. That's that one there. Jailbreak was the top Derby strategy at that time, okay? And so there was another strategy on top of it there, Stalwarts, which is not a bottom fishing strategy, but that strategy was doing well. But I inevitably chose Jailbreak because it was the bottom fishing category. And situationally, that's going to be the better pick. Stalwarts are going to have pretty meager performance on a day-to-day basis going forward, where Jailbreak, as the name would indicate, are stocks that can really run and run hard. And again, why? They have some fundamentals to them, and they have been clobbered in price over the most recent downturn. Okay, so they were already bouncing pretty hard yesterday, right? In fact, the stock that went up to 25% today at one point, Cabo, was up about 5% yesterday, and so on down the list here. So we had some strong runners to work with, and that tends to parlay over into subsequent sessions. The stronger the market rally would have been, the stronger the performance in aggregate likely we would have achieved. That's the extreme likelihood there. So hopefully all of that is starting to make pretty good sense to everyone. That's really about as good as I can describe that, okay? But that's what we did and why we did it, okay? And so what I'm suggesting then at this point is that you have tools in VectorVest that can do these kinds of things for you, and it doesn't look like it takes all that much effort, does it? I mean, it really doesn't. You have a timing model that tells you when to look. You have a tool that quickly tells you what strategies are the best, and ultimately you're going to have coaches that are going to help to steer the way. Okay, so we're going to talk a bit more about that as we kind of wrap things up here. A strong tip is that we have a tool in VectorVest called Profit Locker, and so that's what we use to manage the trades along the way. And if I go back over into VectorVest, I will show you that back test because this is the 133% performance. That was done on 50 trades that would have began on September 25th of 2020 to February 2021. Now I will wholeheartedly admit that was a good run in the stock market. But ultimately, that's how you're going to get this kind of performance, is whenever we have the next bottom, where the market continues to run up off of that bottom. Right? So what we're doing is trying to put ourselves in this kind of position again, right? Now, when we look at the stocks that are in here and some of the performances, some of the ones that were in it as of mid-February were up 66, 57, 54, 47, 19, 16, 6. We had one sore loser down there, two of them, I guess, right? And then if I come to the top here, I can also show you some reports and some trade history. Okay. So we had one stock that went up 172% from November 20th to February 10th. Another one that went from up 128% from December 3rd to February 12th. Another one that went up 119 from 9/28 to 12/3. So this is a bit of a different approach than just running out and buying Microsoft and or Nvidia and things. These are going to be potentially some stronger runners for you guys. Okay. All of that being said, let's get back into the slide set and just kind of round things out. Oh, no, Profit Locker. I almost forgot. So I'm going to click Edit here, and I'll show you the settings that we talked about in that video, and it's the same settings that we're using now. So that special presentation I did a couple weeks back called Get Ready to Go Bottom Fishing. All right, it's a couple Fridays ago, I believe. We're using the same settings I would have suggested in there to get those results. So if we come in here, we come into Jailbreak, Campaign, go to Stop Criteria. We're using the short-term loose Profit Locker Pro ATR. The other combination that works pretty well is just to use Profit Locker itself. That way you don't have to buy an additional tool. The Profit Locker Pro is ultimately better. You will have fewer trades and maximize returns a little stronger that way. But if you were to use something like 100 gain, 15 loss Profit Locker, that will get you, let's say, 80% of the way there. You're going to probably do a little bit more trading, and you're probably going to get, in most cases, a little bit less return. But it's free, out of the box. There's no additional product to buy there, and you'll be on your way. Okay. So if I finish this, let's see how that would have worked out, just quickly by comparison. We'll watch it run up the page. So you can see we've already done a lot more trading. But you're getting the return. I mean, you're talking 70% now. Most people don't get 100%. Most people don't get 100% in 10 years. So you're going to have to do a little bit more trading, but it will get the job done. And let me show you what it does in contrast to like a popular stop loss that somebody might deploy. So let me go ahead and then choose something different, right? Let's do 10% trailing stop. That's pretty much ordinary, commonplace, right? So we'll use just the default 10 right out of the gate. Watch how much trading you'd go through here in that kind of a situation. So we've already done nearly 100 trades in the first couple of months there. The returns are still good, but the effort is immense, and so what I'm suggesting is we've got a complete system, that's going to substantially reduce the effort that it's going to require to get there. Whether you use Profit Locker right out of the box, 115, or whether you use the $99 a month version Profit Locker Pro, then you're talking only, 50 trades, I think it was, versus 300. But you're still getting 160%, So Any way you want to slice and dice it, you're going to make a good amount of money. What we're talking about is minimizing the effort that one's going to have to put out there to achieve that result. I mean, it's not easy to get 151% returns on 7 trades. In fact, you're going to have to be like a magician to pull that rabbit out of your hat. Okay? So it's going to take some effort to get to these kind of numbers. I want that to be made clear. But again, that's why we talk about a smaller denomination of capital. That way, you can afford these looser stops that we deploy, right? And you're not putting yourself in jeopardy of risk of ruin or anything crazy like that. And you'd be surprised how fast you can take $20, $30, $50, $100,000 and turn it into a small fortune pretty quickly doing this kind of thing. Okay. All right. So let me go back into the slides and let's round it out. I figure this. We'll take some questions at the end. I am flying solo today. Okay. So I figure this. You showed up today because your trading plan has stopped working. Maybe you hit a wall, want to take your trading to the next level, or you just want to be trading successfully on all market conditions, no matter what the market throws at you, right? Seems treacherous these days, particularly if you don't have a plan. You're going to be in real difficult waters without a rudder right now if you don't have a mechanical approach to things. So we taught you today how we can keep the wind at your back. We taught you a stress-free solution to evolve with the changing market and how you can even mostly automate that solution should you so choose. The big lesson, you can follow a system that will adapt and make money no matter what the market throws at you. There is no such thing as you can't. The only thing I can't fix is want. If you want to do it, we can show you how. If you don't want to do it, then I can't help you. I mean, it's that simple. So the want to do it, if you want to try to do something like this, and hopefully in the very near term, if this low holds, we're going to be nailing one of these kind of campaigns, very soon. I know everybody's worried about inflation and all this stuff. Look, earnings growth is still 19% a year. Markets have a way to worry about things a little prematurely from time to time. Worrying about things that might happen versus things that are happening right now. So we'll see. The jury's out. And look, if the markets never get over it, we go down 20% before we start climbing, we're just going to get even better performance, at that time. So it really doesn't matter. I promised you guys before we started that you can adapt and thrive no matter what the market throws at you. One of the big reasons, we're going to be there to coach you all along the way. For 30 days, you can get involved in a trading room we call the Jockey Club. The Jockey Club includes the Derby, includes real time, includes all the products that you saw here today that can get that job done for you. Okay, $29. Most of us smoke cigars that cost more money than that. That's less than $1 a day to get the very best coaches you have here at VectorVest at your service, trying to make this a reality for you. Okay, so people would tell you right now, if I could line them up and put them on the mic, the education alone that you get for $29 for 30 days is just, you absolutely should not pass that up. You're not going to get any better coaching than you're going to get there. And we're going to be knocking back those kind of returns if within this next 30 days, we can get that kind of a bottom. It might be a little longer, but I think over just the 30 days that you were with us, we're going to be doing cherry picks. We're going to be picking some winners. We had, over the last 3 months, we've had more than a dozen trades north of 20%. Okay. So you're going to get the systematic approach. You're going to get cherry picking. You're going to get, good back and forth commentary between people in the trading room, of which there are now hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, hopefully soon to be thousands. I'm very serious about that. It's just a great venue for you to go for this for $29. Believe me, it'll be the best $29 you spent. All right, so you don't have to believe me. You can get in there and try it out for yourself. If you don't like it, you don't have to continue. I'm going to throw out into the chat right now a page that you can go to take advantage of this offer. And when you get there, it'll talk about all the wonderful things that you get as being part of the Jockey Club experience. You get all the tools we talked about today. You get all the coaching I just mentioned. We get together every morning. The stock market is open. We get together at 9 a.m. Eastern all the way to 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Okay, so an hour and a half every morning for just $30 plus the tools. Okay, so it details all the value. I'm not even going to go through all the other stuff. There is lots of value here, and I just don't even want to get mired down into all of it. The tools, the coaching, all of it for 30 bucks. That's all we need to say. This special is good for 3 days, 16 hours, 59 minutes, and 33 seconds. After, should you decide to continue, it'll be $249 a month. If I can't make you, or the team can't make you $249 in the first 30 days, go ahead and cancel. It's that simple. It's really that simple. Many people make enough money to pay for the Jockey Club for a year in the first week. I'm just taking words right out of their mouth, okay? So hopefully that will be you. If not, we'll see you next time. You'll be in there eventually. So one way or the other. All right, I'm gonna go back to the final offer slide here. Leave that up. So those of you that are on YouTube, all you got to do is go to vectorvest.com/thrive. And when I talked about coaches, you're going to get Patrick France, Glenn Tompkins, Steve Chappell, and on occasion Jerry D'Ambrosio. So in terms of trading, you're going to get the best instructors we have to offer, on that front. I'll take some time to answer some questions, and then we'll wrap it up. No questions. Is this being recorded? Yes, it was. It was in fact recorded, and it should go out hopefully this evening, in terms of giving you a link that you can click on, rewatch it, and do all that fun stuff. So, in summary, guys, we analyze the stock market like nobody's business. We're in the mode right now, again, where we're still searching for a bottom. We've had a couple of quick opportunities here as of late. Some subscribers have made some pretty decent money, actually. I know on the first one, I haven't been back in the Jockey Club. Glenn was in there this morning. I wasn't in there today, so I don't know how they were doing today. But we've already positioned people pretty well here a couple of times. The market just hasn't taken off yet. When it does, that's when the real fun. That's when I get the emails that say, man, this trading room has changed my life. That's those are the ones we love, right? Is it a great fit for everyone? Not necessarily. Let's be honest. I mean, this is going to be for people who are a little bit more active, and so if you enjoy looking at a lot of charts, if you enjoy cherry picking stocks, if you enjoy, asking us questions on stocks that you're interested in, if you enjoy, potentially having campaigns that can make you 60% a year on year. I mean, that's the kind of performance that we're still seeing. Okay. And so, and I mean that, we have got a audited track record, 60% year-on-year returns. Okay. All right. So anyway, let me go ahead and just wrap things up by saying, I sincerely hope you take us up on this offer. Glenn will be the instructor tomorrow. I'll be back in there next week, and we'll see you guys in there really soon. So thanks for hanging out. Sorry there wasn't very many questions. Hopefully that means we answered them all in the process. So we'll see you soon. All right, gotta go.